Well, hello and welcome and hello. Thank you for tuning in to Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. My name is Danny Deals for Hurricane Lopez and Stock Karen. We would like to say welcome and hello. Today is Monday, October 9, 2023. It's a little after 5 p.m. out here on the beautiful left coast, sunny out here. Of course, the big news is the war ongoing conflict in Israel, the Hamas coming over the dividing wall, etc. With all these means, thousands and thousands of rockets are saying over 1,000 people dead on the Israeli side initially, many more missing, hostages taken. Israelis flattening much of Gaza and with airstrikes, and they say they're going to do a full scale ground invasion. So that rattled the markets briefly, but then markets really came back. They were just trading flat the first like 2/3 of the day, popped back up rapidly. Um, and then actually closed the Nasdaq actually closed in the green. A lot of stocks closed green. Of course, 10x is not one of those. It was down just 1% on the day, popped back up 2% after hours. The volume was extremely low, as it has been 133,000 shares. So that's just like 30 grand worth of churn on the day. There's the table is kind of set for this one in a certain way, guys, because the stock was shorted. They did a horrible offering. If you take a look at the chart for Tenax, basically the stock was, trading kind of actually solidly up to about $3 in January 2023. Everybody was waiting with bated breath on the strategic review by Roth Capital. Oh, those geniuses. I mean, it's really uncanny that they can sell these these drugs. Zacks did the analysis that each drug, even with a 40% chance of getting through P3, right at this point, each drug should be worth like $300 million. They did a calculation on what the sales would be, etc. Normal valuations of those sales multiples, and then here we are. Basically, the stock, after that strategic review, they did like the worst offering in the history of offering. Not really, but it's just one of those terrible offerings that's horribly dilutive, give away the vast majority of the company, and they only got like $15 million. So you give away almost the whole company, and you don't even get enough money to conduct, not even close to enough money to conduct one P3 trial. I guess they did not have any takers to actually sell one or both drugs or the whole company or partner for a P3. You'd have to think anything would have been better than what they accepted. And that's just why I think, like, I look at Roth with a very, with a high degree of skepticism. And if you, I don't want to say anything that's going to get me in trouble or land me in court, but if you look at somebody who was on the board and is now not on the board, and certain hedge funds that did own shares and now supposedly don't own shares, and then other, LLCs have come in that do own shares. This thing is just completely sketchy. And then you have management, they don't seem in any hurry to actually do anything. Like, they should have seen, a long time ago, right when, the new management got there. Hey, look, we're running out of money. Something has to be done urgently. We have these assets that are worth money. We have these oral formulations of these, hypertension drugs. Iminitib is for arterial hypertension, I think, and then um, PAH, and then Lavosin is for um, HPEF, and then that's another type of heart failure, but it's basically, a quality of life drug. They're, targeting the P3 of avosamendin to start this year. They basically outsourced the trial to a company that larger company that specializes in running trials for smaller, more feeble companies. So, they're supposed to start that trial this year. I haven't heard of any actual patient enrollment. Just ducking over the news going on with Tenax Therapeutics. Um, Basically, they got their extension. This is 5 days ago in the Business Journal. Chapel Hill Pharma avoids NASDAQ delisting with extension. So, they got through, I think, like up to April of next year to get the 10. You guys know the rules. You have to get 10 consecutive days closing above $1 to regain the bid price rule and remain listed on the. I think in some cases you can get another extension, and then also you can appeal. So I think you can actually make it go on quite a bit longer than that without actually getting delisted, so long as you don't have any other like major problems. And then, this is just another article. Chronic pulmonary hypertension market is likely to increase at steady growth rate. It's going to be a big market. It already is a big market. Here's investor place: F-rated biotech stocks you shouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, of course, featuring 10x. But if you go down a little bit to July, Tenax Therapeutics issued U.S. patent for oral avosamendin in pulmonary hypertension with heart failure with preserved ejection refraction, HPEF. Anyway, so that patent goes through like 2040 plus and protects that oral formulation in North America. And, you know, it looks like the FDA set this thing up for approval. It just makes you wonder, why couldn't they get a partner if these drugs are actually good? Why wouldn't anyone want to buy the company at a highly discounted price? If they can buy, why aren't insiders buying? Why have a lot of hedge funds and all the institutional investors dumped out of the company? Sorry, guys, my voice is a little bit scratchy. Been on the phone talking to the tax man a lot of the day. But anyway, guys, so then this article back in June, notice of allowance increases confidence, talking about the patent, how that should, bring in more money and make investors more confident. But just absolutely nothing happens with this, guys. It's like 10x Therapeutics, motto should be no news is no news. It's like you don't know if it's good news, you don't know if it's bad news, you don't know if the trial is actually starting, you don't know if they're enrolling patients. You don't know anything basically. Like if you go over to their actual website, yeah, you can see the SEC filings, but under latest news, yeah, they just have the allowance and then the issuance of the US patent, but basically there's not much, guys. I mean, going back before that, they just have one press release every month at the most. They provide a business update, grand notice of allowance, issued U.S. patent, but they're not really talking about you know, anything of substance, like where's the company going, what's the business plan. The business plan is just, it looks like, to try to limp into this P3 very, very gingerly, and try to still make some kind of deal, because they don't have money really to go um, running of the P3 even on a shoestring budget, maybe into Q2, maybe if the thing's really running. I mean, yeah, they're burning very little money right now, but once the trial starts, I mean, they're going to be burning money at least in the rate of, a couple $1 million a month, I would think, to be running this trial full blast, which is what you need to do. You can't drag it out for years. You have to do it as quickly and efficiently as possible. So, I don't know, guys. There's only a few possibilities. The way I see this stock, like the stock was, like I said, just this year up around $3, and it came down in May to like 28 cents. So it's basically, besides a pump like into the low 40s, this stock has just been held like a rock down here in this 32, 27, 28, 29 area. For the last 6 months, it's just uncanny. It's just not going anywhere. The market cap is 6.5 million. There's not a lot of debt. I mean, even if you take the Zacks valuation, you just throw out the Aminatib drug, you think, oh, they're not even going to pursue that. Lavassamendin, they're saying, is worth 300 million. If you just take it, cut it in half because of risk, That's 150 million they're saying that drug is worth, and because the company is distressed, they're going to sell the whole company for half price. Still, that would be $75 million. I mean, and this is not even 1/10 of that, the entire market cap of the company. So the market is telling us either there's some kind of weird deal going on between management where they're, and that's the second thing. They can either pump it, they can take it private, or they can make some kind of deal to remain a public company, get bought by another public company, some type of merger, some type of partnership for one or both P3s, some type of partnership um, for pieces of one or both drugs. There's all kinds of deals they can make, but it's an intriguing possibility. Why aren't insiders buying? Maybe there is some plan afoot to take this thing private. And if you remember, when they changed the bylaws of the company, they were allowing a quorum to be just 1/3 of shares. And then there's certain other rules that they changed in the bylaws. I don't. This isn't the right thing, guys. I'm looking at a different. I forget where this was. I had all kinds of things open because I was just trying to update myself on Tenax, but basically they changed the bylaws again very recently. I think you can see the all the filings, guys, if you just go over to 10xthera.com, go over to investors, you can see all these things. I think it was the one. I think it was within the last month. I think it was on 8/15. It was one of these two. And they go through and they talk about all the changes that they're making. The board of directors voted to change the bylaws again. So it basically seems like a setup, guys. This company doesn't have a lot of debt. They've cleared out a lot of the warrants. The wishy-washy, kind of sketchy hedge fund types, short long hedge funds that have been sued and pursued by the SEC and other federal authorities, and other lawsuits, and other, just for being sort of known as being crooked within certain communities. At least that's the whisper. I don't know anything in particular. Not one to make unfounded accusations, that's for sure. But there was just some real sketchy activity around this company, and that's what you get though. What you deal with these kind of armpit companies. I mean, you get what you get. You take money where you can get it, where you need it. Who wants to buy that offering? Nobody. And it's like, oh, how could they sell the company so cheap? Well, the reason is because nobody else wanted to buy it, I guess. I mean, that's what I want to see a conspiracy under every rock, but it could just be that nobody wanted to buy this turd, and that people aren't impressed with the drug, and people may think something's better is going to come down the pipe, and they're not going to be able to sell this thing till 2041 or whatever the case may be. I mean, I think it's an unmet need. I think the FDA wants to approve levosimendan for this particular indication. The patent office agreed that it was a unique condition, granted a patent just for HPEF. I used to try to spell that out, but some of the science types told me you don't do that. You don't say HPF, HUEF, you just say HPEF. But anyway, so this specific thing, they distinguished it from just other types of heart failure, and granted a patent, and also granted a new patent for the oral formulation of levosimendan, which I think could make the trial a lot cheaper and more efficient to run. If you have to do an IV, you have to bring people into a healthcare facility for every single dose. With the oral formulation, you just bring them in when they need to test, when they need to measure, they need to do the walking test, when you need data, basically, or to check up on the patients. But you don't need to be bringing them in constantly to give IVs, and it's very it's just the whole point of the oral formulation is that you're not doing IVs. It's just could be much more widely used and much easier to use. So guys, aside from the extension, the patent, the trial supposedly starting enrollment any second now, the need for money to basically even get into that trial very far, the company is where it is. It's got, again, two promising properties there, but it's just got nobody who wants to develop those properties. I mean, that's kind of where it stands. There's just absolutely zero excitement around these drugs, around this company. It just couldn't get any more dead, guys. It's just, I mean, it's life support without the support and without the life. Um, so I don't know what the hell that is. It's just a void. It's an absence. Tenax Therapeutics. In a world where nobody wanted these pulmonary hypertension drugs, one company emerged, Roth Capital, and promptly shit their pants and left town with a giant fee for accomplishing absolutely nothing but selling the vast majority of the company for peanuts. I don't know. It doesn't make much of a movie, but basically, there's no story really to tell here, guys. There's not much of a short on the stock, yet they keep shorting in the dark pool, and the people keep talking about the short ratio is so high, but who's shorting from here, guys? There's no meat on the bone. The company's worth almost zero already. I mean, you'd think they could at least sell these drugs for something that rights to them out of bankruptcy court, for God's sake. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here, guys, but several people have been asking me to do an update on Tenax Therapeutics. I still have a lot of shares in the company. I've bought a lot of them really low, so I'm not like too far underwater on the stock. I still believe levosimendan has value, and I believe it will pass the P3 test that the FDA has agreed to. I believe the oral formulation is worth more and could sell a hell of a lot more than an IV formulation like they were selling in Europe for the last, whatever, 25, 30 years. Orion Corporation was owning that, and then, subsidiary of Tenax has owned this. The rights to the IV, 2.5 milligrams, whatever it is. I just read all this crap. It kind of gets jumbled in my mind. But since 2013, they had the one failed trial. They redesigned the thing, got the FDA to agree to the endpoint they need, 6-minute walk test, change the oral formulation. They've got rid of a lot of the overhang with the sort of poisonous warrants and options. So everything's pretty clean right now, guys. The company doesn't have a lot of debt. It doesn't have a lot of baggage. It's just, it's got these assets. It's got the P3 trials teed up and ready to go. Any company with money could run the trials, both trials, and just try to get both these properties developed and producing rent, as it were, or producing some type of return. It's just very odd. You got them all the way through P2. It's a lot of money hasn't been wasted. They're both actually still promising. There's not a lot of alternatives in the space. Particularly for the HPEF, there is no treatments available, so there's an unmet need. So the FDA tends to like drugs like that, and its drugs has been proven for many, many decades, and it's safe and seems to be effective. So, as long as they could meet those endpoint with the walking test, the FDA would approve the drug and could immediately get sales going that would be many, 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 many times this current market cap per annum. But anyway, guys, that's 10x Therapeutics. The show is Un Poco Mas. The ticker symbol is TENX. If you have anything, any inside dope, any scoops, let me know down in the comments. I have really been trying to get some type of information. What's going on? Is there enrollment? It's just really hard to get anything about this company. There's no PR, there's no response. It just seems like management is just sandbagging the hell out of this thing. But, if you look at the board, like, they're good people. Like, these are industry people. Like, these are, CEOs and, executives with big companies and, Dr. Davidson, Declan, Dr. Rich, these are good people in this space, guys. I mean, I know Dr. Rich, they put his drug from Precision on the back burner, Iminitib, but it doesn't change the fact that he has all the contacts. He was with the FDA. It's just, are they biding their time? Is there some kind of plan we don't understand? Or did these guys all of a sudden just lose all their mojo and they just can't get anything done with these drugs? They seem to have value, and the management team is there, the board of directors is there, they have all the contacts, they have this thing set up. So what's missing, guys? What's missing? Why is nothing happening? Why? I don't know. That's the question. 10x Therapeutics. More questions than answers. You guys have yourselves a great Monday, October 9, 2023, and we'll talk about 10x again if something ever happens. Don't hold your breath. Peace.